As graphic designers, we can spend hours trying to find the design aesthetic that could work for a visual. And then we need to figure out a font combination, a color palette, and then write the copy. This can take hours, if not days, for just one visual. That got me thinking, and I had to test ChatGPT to see if it can help us design faster. But my main question was, can a chatbot help us create visuals and design faster? Let's find it out in this video. The goal of this video is to create an Instagram post using ChatGPT and Canva. So first things first, we are going to train our chat for it to believe that it is a professional graphic designer. In this case, I want it to be specialized on social media because I want to create an Instagram post. In your case, if you need to create a logo or another kind of visual, remember to ask the chat to be specialized in that kind of visual that you want to create. So how do you train the chat? You train it by simply providing this prompt. In my case, I sent this prompt to my chat. I said, imagine you are a professional graphic designer specialized on social media. I'll ask you some questions to help me craft a design. Here the chat answered, of course, I'm here to help. Please go ahead and ask your questions. I'll do my best to assist you in crafting a design for social media. This lets me know that the chat agrees to be a professional graphic designer and provide some guidance. Before I write my question, I need to give some context to the chat. So here I am telling the chat I need to create an Instagram post for a yoga teacher. I believe this is the context. I am also giving some extra information about the yoga teacher. So I'm telling the chat she's into mindfulness and overall wellness. She wants her image to look fresh and trendy. And here is the question. What design aesthetic should I use? I'm asking this question because I want to use Canva and I want to use a template available in the library. So I would like some guidance on the aesthetic I should look for in Canva. So that's why my question is, what design aesthetic should I use? Here the chat replies, for a yoga teacher focused on mindfulness and overall wellness, you can consider using a design aesthetic that reflects tranquility, balance, and natural elements. I think this answer is very on point. Then it says, here are a few design aesthetics that could work well for this purpose. Number 1, minimalist. Number 2, nature-inspired. Number 3, bohemian. Number 4, pastel. Then it gave us a little bit more of information about each of the options it chose. Then it is telling us, remember to consider the target audience preferences and the yoga teacher's branding guidelines when selecting a design aesthetic. It is also a good idea to create a mood board or gather information to visualize the overall look and feel before starting the design process. These are very wise words, so this is showing us that it is very important to read everything that the chat is providing in the answers, because like this we can see if the information is first accurate, if second is going to help us, and third if it's actually giving us more information that can help us create this visual. Okay, so from these 4 options, I think I'm gonna go for the first one. So let me show you how I am going to use this information in Canva. I'm gonna type the keyword that I'm interested in, so it will be minimalist, and then I'm gonna enter the following keywords that are going to help me find exactly what I need. So I'm gonna try to find minimalist Instagram post, but also I'm gonna add the yoga keyword to refine my results. So I'm gonna type minimalist yoga Instagram post. Hit enter, and here are the results. We have a lot of templates that are indeed minimalists and that are focused on the yoga topic. You can scroll down. I'm gonna show you what else do we have in here. I really like this aesthetic, but still I would like to check the other options that the chat provided in here. So it is talking about nature inspired and yeah, like organic shapes. Let me see, earthy colors, green browns, harmonious. Okay, so let me try this keyword, nature inspired, and I'm going to replace minimalist in here and hit enter. Okay, very interesting. I do see the nature element on these templates, but I'm not really into this aesthetic. So let me go for bohemian and replace nature inspired here and hit enter. Okay, yes, this one is also pretty interesting. And now let me check pastel. We may get similar options as I already see a lot of pastel colors in here, but let's see what Canva has in here. So pastel yoga Instagram post. Okay, yeah, we have indeed different options, but these are not so different than the ones that we saw before. Let me go back to minimalist yoga Instagram post, hit enter, and I believe I'm going to choose a template from this selection. I'm gonna go for this template right here. This one is actually an Instagram carousel, and this design, it is available on my Canva profile. I'm gonna leave you the link to my Canva profile in the description and the link to this template as well. To open the template on the editor, simply click on the thumbnail and then customize this template. Now that I have selected an aesthetic and a template, I would like to generate a custom color palette for this design. So I'm gonna ask the chat to provide me or to generate a color palette. Here I am again giving some context to the chat, so I'm saying, okay, I'm going for a minimalist style. Now I'm asking the question, can you give me the hex codes of the color palette I should use for these designs? Here I'm asking specifically for the hex codes instead of asking for the colors, because one color can have so many different variations. So the chat replied with this. Certainly, here's a selection of hex codes for a minimalist color palette that can work well for your yoga teacher's Instagram post. Here we have a list of 5 different hex codes and we need to bring them to Canva. This is pretty easy. Let me show you how to do it. I have my screen split. I have the ChatGPT open on the right hand side and Canva on the left to make this process easier. I'm gonna create a new page by clicking on this icon, so add page, and then I'm going to bring this page to page number 1. There you go. Now we're going to insert 5 different shapes to hold the 5 different colors we have here. Let's go to elements and then I'm gonna add a circle. Let's collapse this window and I'm going to hold Option and drag my shape to the side to duplicate these shapes. Okay, I need 5. And now I'm gonna select one of these shapes, copy the hex code on my chat, then go to the color option on this white toolbar and then paste the hex code in this search bar. And then I'm going to select the option that says from your search. I'm gonna continue the same process for the following colors. So I'm gonna copy the following color, select another shape, paste the hex code in here, and then select this square. I'm pretty surprised because the colors that the chat provided are pretty similar to the colors that we already have on this design. So let me go to the grid view. We can see here the color palette that the chat provided and here the colors that were available on this template. Now, let me show you how to change the colors on your template pretty quick. I'm gonna go to the cover page and then I'm gonna change the color on this star. I'm going to the color option on the toolbar. Let me close this search and then I'm gonna select the dusty rose color that the chat provided. I'm clicking on this color and then I'm gonna click on change all, the button that we see at the bottom of the screen. And now the elements that had this orange color changed to dusty rose in this document. I'm gonna do the same for this green. So let's go to the color option. I'm selecting the green or the sage green that the chat provided and clicking on change all. Now, we need to change the color for the text and I'm not sure if these colors are going to work. Let me see. I may use the white for it to have a contrast with the sage green. So let me select a text box and then text color and let's go for the white. I'm gonna click on change all. Let me see the design. Okay, the contrast in here is not working, but I could change this text for the sage green, and here we still need to change these text boxes for white. We still need to change a couple of colors that were present on the original template, so that will be this pale gray in the background. So I'm gonna select the background, go to the background color option, and then we can either go for the soft white, this one, or the pale gray that the chat provided, which is this one right here. So let me go for the pale gray. I think this one is good, or let me check the white. I'm gonna go for the pale gray and then change all. I'm gonna do the same for this shape and this arrow right here. I'm pretty happy with the result. You can see here the new aesthetic that the chat provided for me. I just would like to ask the chat if we can have a different color combination because I want to have more contrast in between the colors in the background and the text. So this is what I told the chat. This color palette has very light colors and the text is not legible. Should I change one of the colors of the palette or add a new one? And the chat apologized. It says apologies for the inconvenience and then it provided a new color palette. Here we have 5 different colors. So let me go up. I'm gonna duplicate this page and I'm gonna add the new colors or the new color palette in these 5 different shapes to see the new color palette that the chat is suggesting. Now that I have my new color palette in here, let's try it out. I'm gonna remove or delete the first page to be able to add these colors faster. Now I'm gonna use this new color palette and I'm gonna try a different color combination on this design to see what we can come up with. I'm gonna do this process really fast because you already know how to do it, so I'll see you in a couple of seconds. Here is my design with the new color palette that the chat provided. I didn't use the green color. I thought it was sufficient with these 4 colors right here. And now I would like to use a different font on this design, and that's what I asked the chat. What font combination should I use? And then it replied for a heading or title font, which is Montserrat. We also have the font for the body text, and then we have an accent font, which is optional, but it's good to have this information at hand. Let me go and use these fonts in Canva. Okay, so we have Montserrat. I'm gonna select this title font, go to the font menu and paste Montserrat on my search bar. Here we have the Montserrat font. I'm gonna change all and then going below to change the body text font for Roboto. We almost have this carousel ready. We have the colors, we have the font combinations, and now we need to work on the text or the copy of the design. So coming back to the chat, I'm going to provide some context. So I need to create an Instagram carousel that contains 5 pages, including cover and final page. I could provide 3 tips in it, what it should be about. Remember that the chat has been trained and it knows that we are working for a yoga teacher. And this is the reply it gave me. For your Instagram carousel with 5 pages, including a cover and final page, you can focus on providing valuable tips related to mindfulness, wellness, and yoga. Remember that I was the one who provided these keywords to the chat. So it is pretty cool to see that the chat is coming back with these words. And it is saying, here's a suggestion for the content of each page. Okay. Cover page, introduce the carousel. Page 1, mindful breathing technique. Page 2, morning yoga routine. Page 3, self-care ritual. And final page, call to action and contact information. I really love this guidance, so let's work on our design with this information. I'm gonna delete my first page with the color palette because we don't need it anymore, so delete page. Let me close the grid view so I can start working on the design. I'm gonna use the copy that the chat provided. I'm gonna copy and paste it in here just for the sake of this tutorial, but I do recommend that you work with this text that the chat is providing as a base, and then you add your personal touch. You can change it, you can adapt it for your brand voice. And also it is very important that you check if the information is correct. Not everything that the chat is saying is true, so it's better to double check. I already changed the titles on this design and we need to start working on the body text. I would like to create some text that fits perfectly on this design, so I need to first check how many characters we have on this body text. So I'm gonna copy this text and then I'm gonna ask ChatGPT how many characters are in this text, paste it, and hit enter. And then the chat says there are 154 characters. Now that we have this information, I'm gonna ask the chat to write a mindful breathing technique tip for a balanced life in 154 characters or less. We have our copy here. Remember that I'm copy and pasting just for the sake of this tutorial, and then pasting the text in this text box. Moving on to the next page, I'm gonna ask the chat to create a text for this body text and for the following page. Now we are on the closing page of the carousel. Remember that the chat told us to add a call to action to this page, so here I am asking the chat to write a short call to action to invite followers to sign up for a yoga class. I'm asking it to make it short because it's for the last page of the carousel. I believe the chat took as base the previous prompts in which we were creating copy with 154 characters or less, and it provided a call to action of 129 characters, which is very long for these 3 text boxes that we have in here. So I'm gonna go ahead and create my own call to action. I think this is going to save more time. We are almost done with this carousel, with this design, and I have one last question. Should I add any texture or pattern to the design? And this is what the chat replied. Adding texture or pattern to the design can enhance visual interest or depth depending on the specific aesthetic you are aiming for. Here are few considerations to help you decide. So we have a minimalist approach, nature inspired, and bohemian or artistic vibes. After reading this reply, I found some keywords that were speaking to me. So I saw that we can try some subtle botanical patterns. So let me try and copy this keyword, and let's go to the elements section and search for botanical pattern. hit enter. I'm gonna go to graphics and see all. Here we have plenty of options that we can use on our design. Some of them are free to use and some are available for Canva Pro users. This pattern that I'm going to use is available for Canva Pro users, and if you are a Canva free user and would love to try this pattern right here and all of the Canva Pro features, you can use our affiliate link. You can have 45 days of Canva Pro for free. The link is in the description. I'm gonna use this pattern right here, and remember that the chat said to use subtle patterns because we are still working on a minimal design. So I have this pattern and I can make it more subtle by changing its color and also adding some transparency. So I want to add this pattern to the background. Let me right click, go to layer, and then send to back. By having the pattern selected, I'm gonna go to color and change the color so it is a more subtle color. Now I'm gonna add some transparency, and then I'm gonna right click on this element, copy, go to page number 2 and paste it. I'm gonna change the color on this element in here because I want this element to be in the background. So first let's go to more, layer, send to back, and then I'm gonna change the color. I think I'm gonna go for the light gray, and then I'm gonna continue the same process. The next page, the background is gray, so I'm going back to page number 1, copy the pattern, go to page number 3 and paste here the pattern. Remember to put it in the back and then following the same process for the following pages. Now, if you ask me, can a chatbot help us create visuals? I can say definitely yes. And now, if you ask me, can a chatbot help us design faster? Yes, indeed. In this case, for this Instagram carousel, instead of taking me about 2 to 3 hours, it took me about 7 minutes. In this video, of course, it took us a little longer because I was describing the process and giving you some tips here and there, but it definitely made my work easier and helped me design faster. Now, what do you think about using ChatGPT for this purpose? Are you going to use some of these prompts to create your own visuals? If you enjoyed this tutorial and you want to keep learning about how to use ChatGPT and Canva at the same time, you can watch this tutorial right here. And also, if you want to access new and trendy templates every week, you can follow my Canva profile. I'm gonna leave the link in here. I think this is it for today, and I really hope to see you in the next video. Bye!